Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. And the Seven Series is heading into its penultimate weekend with the Singapore Sevens this weekend. And Argentina sitting on top of the log, set to potentially take off the title after an incredible season where they have won 3 out of 6 tournaments and got a bronze in, 3 out of 5 tournaments so far and got a further bronze in Dubai. So they have been absolutely dominant. They've actually gotten 3 tournament wins in a row. So they've completely dominated the proceedings, and unless something really spectacular happens, the Blitzboks out of the running, unfortunately. And they were in the running. They'd actually played pretty well so far this season. They consistently managed to keep themselves in and around sort of semi-finals, the likes of that. But last weekend's performance was absolutely atrocious, and getting 4 points out of it means they're suddenly sitting 22 points adrift. And it's quite simple. You come second, for example, last weekend, and you're in the race. But we didn't even make the semi-finals. We were awful, and the worst display of anybody in the top 5 teams across the entire season. So we have a look at that. But before we do that, please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. This is what the log looks like. So Argentina sitting at 88 points. As mentioned, they started with a bronze. They bombed out a little bit in Cape Town, and then 3 wins in a row. I mean, it's incredible scenes. Fiji started well, and they've kind of just sort of slipped off. They're always kind of there and thereabouts, but they've not been good enough. And Spain have been the talk of the town, haven't they, this season? And I'd love to see them finish second. They're not out of the mix to try and finish first, but Argentina basically, they get a semi-final this weekend, and they're now uncatchable. They've got 12 points basically between Fiji and Argentina, and 14 between Spain and Argentina. So Argentina go and get, I think 16 points or whatever. Then, I think it's even 14 or 12 points, and they basically can't get caught. South Africa, started off badly in Dubai, and we're too inconsistent. That's the problem, isn't it? Dubai, you're going to get 10 points. Then you win Cape Town after that. Perth was frustrating. Vancouver was once again a bounce back. And if we had gone last week and potentially won last week, we could have been sitting on an 80 points. And if we had, for example, we were on 80 points, if Argentina had come second, they would have been sitting at 86 points. We would have been right there. If they come like a third, for example, we would be even closer, in fact. And if they come fourth, we would actually be ahead of them. So that is how poor last week's display was, really, from the Blitzboks. Australia, they had a really, really poor start to the season, and they've kind of sort of eventually starting to come good a little bit. France as well. New Zealand have been absolutely shocking, haven't they? They've just not been the New Zealand of old. But it's really cool, I think, to see Spain and Argentina suddenly start to dominate in sevens. Great Britain have been awful, and USA, well, I'll talk about a fall from grace, how poor they've been. In terms of the fixtures for this weekend, this is what we've got. So we'll have a look at the pools as well. But all start tomorrow morning. It's Ireland versus Kenya. From a second point of view, it's Great Britain versus the Blitzboks at 7:30 in the morning. 11:15, we then take on Argentina. That could be a bad game with the way we've been playing. And our final group game will be against... or is it a two-grouper? Oh, it's a two-grouper. It's a whole different format this weekend. That's probably why. In terms of the women's game, by the way, so if you look at the pools, there we go. Oh, great. That's not working. That's phenomenal. This is the worst possible website, by the way, ever. In terms of the women's division, in case you're wondering, in New Zealand, that's where they've dominated. And this, I think, is a little bit sad to see in terms of how few other teams are even featured, really. I mean, New Zealand have been in the final all 5 tournaments so far. Australia have missed 1 podium, and France have got 3 out of 5 podiums. This needs to change. We need to see teams like Great Britain starting to compete. South Africa just didn't play on the 7th circuit this season, which is really frustrating. So the women's sevens, I think, has got a lot to go with. I mean, it's been good seeing China there playing consistently week in, week out as an additional team. Spain, not great, but they've been there. Brazil as well. And this is what I think the frustrating thing. If you've got Brazil, China, and Spain on the 7th circuit, Canada on the 7th circuit, the USA coming 4th in the 7th circuit, how is South Africa not featuring? And I think that's a really big failure of SA Rugby. We've got to get our women's sevens. So look, at the moment we are focusing on the Rugby World Cup this year. That's kind of been our big focus. We're going to try and potentially go into a semi-final this year in the Women's World Cup. That's our big goal, because we're very much not as competitive in the women's game. In fact, not even nearly as competitive as the women's game, where we dominate. So need to have a bit of a shift in play there. From a South African point of view, this is a bit of a disaster. We've got to make sure that next season we're back in this mix. And it's just the consistency, isn't it? It's the consistency that we've lacked that has been the sort of the downfall for the Blitzbox. But yeah, an interesting weekend. It's a 2-day tournament, and that's why I said there's fewer fixtures than what they were in a 3-day tournament, for example, which I prefer, actually, to be honest. I prefer having 3 games in your group pools and the likes of that. But what are your thoughts of the sevens? Have we lost sevens with the rebrand and the fewer tournaments? And I'm not sure I get the same sort of vibe as I did a few years ago when it comes to sevens. 5 tournaments, what's it, 6 in total, I think it is, or 7 in total the entire season, just doesn't really do it for me. I don't really get excited about that. And I think we're missing on some cool tournaments. I take the fact that there's not a single one in Europe is unreal. There's no London sevens. There's no Spain sevens. I think it was Madrid. There's no Madrid sevens. There's no French sevens, for example, and there's nothing in South America. So I think that's sad. We've got 2 in Asia. We've got 2 in North America, and we've got 1 in the Middle East and 1 in South Africa. So I think that the venues themselves, I think, also probably need a little bit of reviewing. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.